The human's act of pure compassion left the alien princess weeping uncontrollably. Umbra's hands trembled as she recounted the harrowing ordeal to her fellow Arcturian dignitary Zephyr, aboard their looming flagship. Just days ago, Umbra had been touring the newly discovered primitive planet called Earth when disaster struck. Her shuttle tragically malfunctioned and crash-landed in a remote, inhospitable mountain range. Battered, alone, and rapidly losing hope as she lay trapped in the crumpled wreckage, Umbra had managed to broadcast a weak distress beacon. But the news from her rescue team was dire. They grimly reported it would take several rotations to reach her location due to the planet's turbulent atmosphere and rugged terrain. The princess was certain she would perish alone on this savage, uncharted world. But then, against all odds, a lone human appeared. His name was Arthur Hill, a local ranger who stumbled upon the crash site. Despite Umbra's shocking alien form, Arthur immediately leapt into action to help. With resourcefulness born of his world's unforgiving wilderness, he used survival skills to erect a warm shelter from the shuttle's wreckage, carefully tended to Umbra's wounds, and shared his meager rations without hesitation. For 3 relentless rotations, through bone-chilling nights and scorching days, Arthur devotedly cared for the stranded princess until the Arcturian rescue shuttle finally homed in on her distress beacon. The concept of such pure altruism from a primitive was utterly foreign and incomprehensible to Umbra. Before parting, the princess directly asked Arthur why he went to such lengths to aid her. He simply stated that on Earth they believe all living things deserve compassion, regardless of origin or appearance. Helping others in need was fundamental to their society. As Umbra relayed this to Zephyr, her voice cracked with emotion, admitting the human's selfless actions moved her to uncontrollable tears. It completely shattered the Arcturian doctrine painting humans as inferior savages to be subjugated. If this single human could display such nobility, how severely had their kind misjudged humanity as a whole? Perhaps it was the Arcturians, not the humans, who had much to learn about what it truly meant to be civilized. Zephyr nodded somberly as Umbra finished recounting her harrowing tale. He leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with a newfound understanding. "Your experience with this human ranger, Arthur, is truly remarkable," Zephyr said. "But it seems our misconceptions about humanity run deeper than we realized. I too have witnessed their capacity for compassion firsthand." Umbra tilted her head, intrigued. "Please do share your story, Zephyr." Zephyr took a deep breath, his mind drifting back to the fateful day. "As you know, I am a high-ranking officer in the Arcturian military. Some time ago, I was assigned to observe a fierce battle between human forces and the warlike Zorgons on a disputed border planet." Umbra nodded, familiar with the Zorgons' reputation for aggression. "During the fighting, my cloaked observation ship was hit by stray weapons fire. The damage was severe, and I crashed on the planet's surface. Injured and unable to call for help due to the damaged comms, I crawled out of the wreckage, only to find myself face to face with a human soldier." Umbra's eyes widened. "What happened then?" "I expected to be captured or killed on the spot," Zephyr admitted. "But instead the human Lieutenant Commander Marcus Johnson pulled me to safety in a nearby cave. Despite knowing I was an Arcturian, a race that had never openly assisted humanity, Marcus tended to my wounds and shared his meager supplies with me." "Incredible," Umbra whispered. "But why would he help an alien who might be an enemy?" Zephyr smiled softly. "That's exactly what I asked him. Marcus looked me in the eye and said, 'In the heat of battle, it's easy to forget our shared humanity, but I believe that every sentient being deserves to be treated with dignity and compassion, regardless of what uniform they wear or what world they come from.'" Umbra placed a hand on her heart, deeply moved by Marcus's words. "I was astounded by his principled stance and his willingness to aid someone he had every reason to mistrust," Zephyr continued. "When I was finally rescued by an Arcturian extraction team, I felt a profound shift in my perspective. These humans, they possess a remarkable capacity for empathy and kindness, even in the most challenging circumstances." Umbra nodded thoughtfully. "It seems we have both witnessed the true nature of humanity, one that defies our preconceived notions. Their compassion knows no bounds, even extending to those they might consider enemies. Indeed, Zephyr agreed. It makes one wonder what the galaxy might be like if more species embraced such values. Perhaps we Arcturians have much to learn from these seemingly primitive beings. Umbra gazed out the viewport, her mind reeling with the implications of their shared experiences. The humans have shown us a different path, one guided by understanding and unity rather than mistrust and division. It is a path we must carefully consider as we move forward in our dealings with Earth and the greater galactic community. Zephyr leaned back, his eyes distant as he pondered the implications of their shared experiences. These humans, they continue to surprise us, don't they? Their capacity for compassion seems to extend far beyond the personal level. Umbra nodded, her thoughts turning to a recent event that had sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Indeed, their altruism knows no bounds. Did you hear about what transpired at the Galactic Assembly when Earth applied for membership? Zephyr's eyebrows raised in interest. I heard whispers, but I was away on a mission. What happened? Umbra sighed, recalling the heated debate. My father, Emperor Xerxes, vehemently opposed humanity's inclusion. He argued that they were too primitive, too underdeveloped to contribute meaningfully to the galactic community. A short-sighted view given what we now know, Zephyr remarked. Agreed. But then something extraordinary happened. Ambassador Neela of the Zinthi Confederation spoke up in support of Earth. Zephyr leaned forward, intrigued. The Zinthi, they're notoriously isolationist. What prompted them to advocate for humanity? Umbra's voice took on a reverent tone. Neela shared a remarkable story. A decade ago, a deadly virus ravaged the Zinthi homeworld, claiming millions of lives. The Galactic Council offered condolences, but little else. In desperation, the Zinthi reached out to Earth, a planet they had never formally contacted. And the humans responded? Zephyr asked, though he suspected he knew the answer. Umbra nodded. Without hesitation, a human medical team led by Dr. Ethan Novak volunteered to help. They worked tirelessly alongside Zinthi scientists to develop a cure. Dr. Novak even tested the experimental vaccine on himself to ensure its safety for the Zinthi. Zephyr shook his head in amazement. Incredible! They risked their own lives to save a species they barely knew. Thanks to their selfless efforts, the virus was eradicated, and countless Zinthi lives were saved, Umbra continued. Neela expressed her profound gratitude and urged the Assembly to recognize humanity's compassionate nature and potential as allies. I can only imagine the impact of her words, Zephyr mused. Umbra's eyes widened as she recalled the moment. The chamber was stunned into silence. Even my father, who had been so vocal in his opposition, looked contemplative. Zephyr stroked his chin thoughtfully. It seems these acts of human kindness, from the personal scale of our own experiences to the global impact of the Zinthi crisis, point to a larger pattern of altruism and bravery within their species. Umbra nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. Can you imagine what the galaxy might be like if humanity were to join the galactic community? Their presence could challenge long-held prejudices and promote a more empathetic and unified future for all races. A tantalizing prospect, Zephyr agreed. But we must remember that change, even positive change, is often met with resistance. There will be those who cling to old biases, who fear what humanity's influence might bring. Umbra's eyes gleamed with determination. Then it falls to us and others who have witnessed the truth of humanity's nature to be their advocates. We must share the truth of humanity's noble spirit with all who will listen. Zephyr nodded solemnly. Indeed, we must. Speaking of humanity's influence, have you heard about the remarkable terraforming technology developed by Dr. Isaac Nakamura and his team? Umbra's eyes widened. No, I haven't. Please tell me more. Zephyr leaned forward, his voice filled with awe. Dr. Nakamura and his colleagues created a groundbreaking technology capable of transforming inhospitable planets into worlds teeming with life. It was a scientific marvel, the likes of which had never been seen before. Incredible, Umbra breathed. I can only imagine the potential of such a technology. What's even more astonishing is what they chose to do with it, Zephyr continued. Instead of keeping this technology for themselves or selling it to the highest bidder, the humans made the selfless decision to share it freely with the entire galactic community. Umbra's brow furrowed in surprise. They didn't seek any personal gain? No political leverage or economic advantage? Zephyr shook his head. None whatsoever. They created detailed instructional materials and hosted training sessions for scientists from various worlds, ensuring that this knowledge could be used to benefit all races, not just their own. Such generosity is truly remarkable, Umbra mused, and to think some still view humans as primitive and self-serving. The impact of their actions speaks for itself, Zephyr said. One of the first planets to benefit from this technology was Zelos Prime, a barren world stripped of resources and rendered uninhabitable by the now extinct Zelosian race. Umbra's eyes widened in recognition. I remember learning about the tragedy of Zelos Prime. It was a grim reminder of the consequences of unchecked exploitation. Zephyr nodded. But thanks to the human-designed terraforming process, Zelos Prime underwent a miraculous transformation. From a lifeless husk, it blossomed into a lush, verdant planet, capable of supporting a thriving ecosystem once more. A second chance for a world once thought lost forever, Umbra whispered, her voice filled with wonder. The Galactic Council was so moved by this achievement that they declared Zelos Prime a nature reserve and a memorial to the Zelosian race, Zephyr continued. Many attribute this decision to the humans' influence and the values they embody. Umbra nodded thoughtfully. It's clear that humanity's compassion extends not only to the living, but also to the memory of those long gone. Their actions have ensured that the Zelosian legacy will endure, even if their race could not. And to think, the humans could have easily used this technology as a bargaining chip for political power or economic gain, Zephyr mused. But they chose a different path, one guided by altruism and a commitment to the greater good of the galaxy. Their long-term vision is truly admirable, Umbra agreed. By freely sharing this technology, they have sown the seeds for a more cooperative and sustainable galactic future. Zephyr leaned back, his eyes distant. One can only imagine the ripple effects of their actions. If more worlds were to embrace the values demonstrated by the humans, the very fabric of our galactic society could be transformed. Umbra's voice grew contemplative. The humans have shown us that compassion and foresight can breathe new life into the galaxy, both literally and figuratively. Their actions on Zelos Prime have not only honored the memory of a lost race, but also provided a second chance for life to flourish where it had once been extinguished. And in doing so they have set an example for us all, Zephyr said softly. Perhaps with humanity's guidance we... As Umbra and Zephyr pondered the far-reaching impact of humanity's altruism, a sudden chime from the comm panel shattered their contemplative silence. The holographic display flared to life, revealing the stern visage of Emperor Xerxes. "Father?" Umbra gasped, startled by the unexpected interruption. "Umbra Zephyr," Xerxes began, his voice grave. "I bring dire news. Our long-range sensors have detected a massive Zorgan fleet amassing near the Earth-Zorgan border. Their intentions are clear. They seek to invade and conquer humanity's homeworld." Umbra's heart plummeted, her mind racing with the implications of her father's words. The compassionate humans who had touched so many lives across the galaxy, including her own, were now in grave danger. "The Galactic Council is deliberating on how to respond," Xerxes continued, "but many members are hesitant to intervene, fearing a costly and prolonged war with the Zorgans." Umbra leaped to her feet, her eyes blazing with determination. "Father, we cannot abandon the humans in their hour of need. They have shown us the true meaning of compassion and unity. The Arcturians and other advanced races have a moral obligation to stand with our human allies." Xerxes sighed, his holographic image flickering. "Umbra, I understand your sentiment, but I cannot risk Arcturian lives and resources for a primitive species. The cost would be too great. Zephyr, who had remained silent, finally spoke up. Your Majesty, if I may, the humans have proven time and again that they are more than mere primitives. Their actions have had a profound impact on the galaxy, and their values are ones we should aspire to emulate. Umbra nodded vigorously, heartened by Zephyr's support. Father, please reconsider. We have a chance to forge a new path for the galaxy, one guided by the principles of empathy and cooperation that the humans embody. Xerxes' expression remained stoic, unmoved by his daughter's pleas. My decision stands, Umbra. The Arcturian Empire will not intervene in this conflict, I'm sorry. With that, the holographic display winked out, leaving Umbra and Zephyr in stunned silence. Umbra slumped back into her seat, her mind reeling with the weight of her father's words. Zephyr rose slowly, his eyes distant. I cannot stand idly by while the humans face this threat alone. They have shown me the true meaning of courage and compassion. I must resign my commission and travel to Earth to warn them of the impending invasion. Umbra's head snapped up, her eyes wide with surprise. Zephyr, you would leave behind everything you've known, your position, your life here, for the humans? Zephyr nodded solemnly. I believe it is the right thing to do. The humans have earned my respect and my loyalty. I cannot ignore my conscience any longer. Umbra rose to her feet, a newfound resolve etched on her features. Then I will join you. I too cannot sit by while the humans face this danger alone. They have shown me the depths of their compassion, and I will not abandon them now. Together, Umbra and Zephyr made their way to the hangar bay, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of the challenges that lay ahead. As they boarded a small, unassuming spacecraft, Umbra cast one last glance at the life of privilege she was leaving behind. Her father's disapproval weighed heavily on her mind, but she knew in her heart that she was making the right choice. The humans had shown her a different path, one guided by the values of empathy and unity, and she was determined to follow it, no matter the cost. As their ship streaked through the void towards Earth, Umbra and Zephyr could only hope that they would arrive in time to make a difference. The fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Upon reaching Earth's orbit, Umbra and Zephyr were surprised to find the planet's defenses already mobilizing. It seemed that humanity, having caught wind of the Zorgon threat, was wasting no time in preparing for the impending invasion. As they descended through the atmosphere, Umbra and Zephyr witnessed a remarkable sight. Across the planet's surface, people from all walks of life were coming together to defend their home. Soldiers and civilians alike worked side by side, fortifying cities and organizing evacuations. The resilience and determination of the human spirit were on full display. Landing in a secluded area near Arthur Hill's hometown, Umbra and Zephyr made their way to the local defense headquarters. As they entered the bustling command center, Umbra's heart skipped a beat when she spotted a familiar face among the uniformed personnel. Arthur, she called out, her voice trembling with emotion. The ranger turned, his eyes widening in surprise as he recognized the Arcturian princess. Umbra, what are you doing here? Umbra rushed forward, grasping Arthur's hands in her own. We came to warn you about the Zorgon fleet. They're planning to invade Earth. Arthur's expression grew somber. We know. Our long-range sensors picked up their movements a few days ago. We've been preparing ever since. Zephyr stepped forward, his eyes filled with admiration. You're already mobilizing your defenses. That's incredible. Arthur nodded, his jaw set with determination. We may be outmatched in terms of technology, but we won't go down without a fight. This is our home, and we'll defend it with everything we have. Umbra felt a swell of pride and sorrow in her chest. The compassionate ranger who had saved her life was now ready to lay down his own in defense of his planet and the ideals he held dear. As the Zorgon fleet approached Earth, the galactic community watched in trepidation. Many races, though sympathetic to humanity's plight, were hesitant to intervene, fearing the consequences of a direct confrontation with the Zorgons. Umbra and Zephyr, however, had made their choice. They stood alongside the humans, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They had learned the true meaning of compassion and unity from their human friends, and they were determined to uphold those values, no matter the cost. As the first Zorgon ships entered Earth's orbit and the battle began, Umbra and Zephyr could only hope that their presence would make a difference. The fate of Earth and the galaxy hung in the balance, and the question remained, would the Arcturians and other races find the courage to follow humanity's example and fight for what was right? The story ended on a somber yet hopeful note, with the future uncertain but the bonds of friendship and the power of compassion shining through the darkness. The humans had shown the galaxy a different path, one guided by empathy and understanding, and now it was up to the rest of the galactic community to decide whether they would follow that path or remain mired in the old ways of division and mistrust. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.